Hello ladies, welcome to my channel, Empowered After Abuse. My name is Jenny and I talk about women's empowerment and how you can live your most empowered life after an abusive relationship. And today's video is going to be a reaction to an interview that I did with another YouTuber. His name is Dr. Sheldon and his channel, I'm going to link it below. I'll link the interview below. He basically asked me questions about my experience being in an abusive relationship and how I was able to overcome it. And I think the interview went very well. It was actually my first time ever speaking to a doctor about what I went through, but it actually went really well and I really enjoyed talking to him. I think he's a great person and he has a great channel. Check it out. He makes a lot of videos about helping people overcome situations that they're facing, and he has a lot of good content on that, so definitely check it out. I wanted to include the interview here so I could react to it, but I'm so bad at editing and I had no idea how to do that. So I haven't learned how to do that yet. I didn't want that to be an excuse. So I just really wanted to finish answering some of the questions that I was asked, because there's some points, like when I rewatched it, there's some points that I really wanted to add. He asked me a lot of questions about what I went through, so I explained my story. One of the first questions that I was asked was, when did I start to notice that I was being abused, and when did I notice that things were off about the relationship? And one of the things that I wanted to add is that people take a long time to show their true selves. Like, they can pretend that they're a certain person just because they know that that's what you want. But especially abusers, they know that they're abusers. They know that it's within them. They know they're capable of doing that and hurting somebody. They can pretend very well on being a person that they're not. They hide their true self just so that you will fall for them, fall in love with them. And then you could be years into a relationship and somebody could just change, like their true self will eventually show. And that's what I want you girls to know, is that a person's true self will eventually always show. Some abusers are better at hiding it than others. Some are really, really good at hiding it. They can pretend to be this perfect person for years. Some can only do it for months, some do it for years, and their true self will ultimately show itself. It took a long time for me to realize something was off. Like, this person was literally my best friend for a very long time, and I trusted that person with my life, and I never thought that they would change into the person that abused me and almost killed me. Like, I never would have imagined that that person was capable of doing that to me, but I was proven to be wrong. And people have to understand that the person that you get with when you first meet them is not the same person, or it might not be the person that you thought. People change. People are constantly changing. So just because someone is a certain way and you believe that that's how they are, when you're in a relationship, you never know. A person can literally just change, and who they are will show itself. Abuse progresses slowly. It can happen very, very soon in a relationship, but usually a lot of women that have been in domestic violence relationships, they've been with that person for a very, very long time. You don't really notice signs like all at once. It could be very, very subtle red flags that you might not even think are like big things, and then they turn into this really big thing. So it can happen very slowly. A lot of times you won't even realize that it's happening. Sometimes they might do something and then apologize for it and make you completely forget about it until the next year they decide to do the same thing again, even worse. So it kind of happens like very, very slowly a lot of times. And one of the things that I noticed, I started to really realize that it was happening once the yelling, the display of aggression, little displays of aggression like slamming doors, escalated to punching walls, escalates to breaking mirrors, stuff like that. And so, people get mad. Like, getting mad is not, doesn't mean you're abusive. If a guy yells because he's mad about something, doesn't always mean that he's an abusive person. But you can tell when someone's mad because of like something, and then you can tell when that's just how they react. Like, if someone is mad at something and they yell at you, right? Like, first of all, a man should never yell at you. That's already a red flag. But if like something got him mad and he raises his voice because of it, that doesn't mean he is an abuser. It could just mean that whatever happened in the moment just really upset him. But if he gets mad on a regular basis, or it starts happening more frequently to where it's like not even a real reason to get mad and to act that way, then that's what it's a major red flag. You shouldn't take that lightly because, they want to basically, they do these things. Abusive men do things like break mirrors, punch walls because they want to display their strength. They want you to fear them. They want you to feel like, oh my God, if him being mad, if he could be strong enough to do that or break that thing, then he's probably going to be strong enough to hurt me. And so that's basically his way of showing you, like, yeah, I can hurt you. Don't get me mad because I have the capability of hurting you. That's what they're basically saying when they choose to break things or punch walls, stuff like that. And then another thing that Dr.S asked me was I ever isolated? Like, did I feel isolated? And I answered that question. And then I wanted to add that being isolated was also like a very slow process. It happens slowly. You might be in a relationship right now and you don't realize that you're slowly isolating yourself from people that you used to love to be around. But once you notice that it's really happening is when you really find yourself not having the desire at all to hang out with friends and family. Abusers will brainwash you to believe that nobody else really cares about you, nobody else really loves you, like you hanging out with other people is a waste of your time. Why would you spend that much time with somebody that doesn't do as much that I do for you? Like, they'll tell you things to make you not really feel the desire to hang out with your friends and family. And then sometimes when you do go meet up with your friends, they will be on the phone the whole time, like blowing your phone up. They'll be trying to make you feel bad about it. They will accuse you of cheating or accuse you of disrespecting them. Like, they'll just make you feel bad to where you don't feel the desire to go out anymore because you know that it's gonna come with drama when you do. So once you feel that way, that's when you know, like, you're in an abusive relationship, it's toxic, and that person is trying to isolate you. It's very dangerous to be isolated because that's when you're very vulnerable, and when you don't feel like you can easily tell friends or family like what's going on, that's when you know that you're being isolated. That you shouldn't let anyone isolate you. And another thing that I wanted to talk about is trauma bonding. And it's when I hear a lot of people say to women that have been abused is, why don't you just leave? Like, why don't you just leave at the first sign of abuse? When you realized he was abusing you, why don't you just leave? Like, why is it so hard for you to just walk away and leave? And this is something called trauma bonding. I'm sure Dr.S knows more about this, but it's basically when you're emotionally dependent on that person. Like, you're codependent on their attention to you. You become so dependent on them that you can't leave them because they're giving you something. They're giving you all this attention. It basically makes you addicted to them. Even if that person is hurting you, even if that person is maybe tearing you down every day with their words, when you're trauma bonded to somebody, it literally makes you addicted to that person. You're addicted to the way they treat you. And it's like, how could you be addicted to someone that treats you so badly? And yeah, it basically makes you addicted to being abused, because when they do these acts to hurt you, they then shower you with this love, and they tell you how much they love you, and it just makes the love that you get from them, or the feeling that you get from them, feel so much better after they did something to hurt you. The attention and the love they give you after it to make you forgive them, it just feels so good to you because of how much they hurt you. And the whole time they're telling you how much they love you, how sorry they are, how they would never do it again. But deep down inside, it's just manipulation from them. And that's how women get addicted to abusive relationships. It's not even your fault. It's a psychological thing that happens. It happens naturally in the brain. You just get addicted to what you're going through. You're bonded to that person through the trauma. It's something that when you get it on a regular basis, it's hard to break apart from it. It's like a drug. Like you get something, just like that person gets off on causing you the pain and the hurt, you also get something out of someone doing that to you. So it's kind of like you were bonded to this person from the trauma. Also, I wanted to mention, so one of the last questions that he asked me was how difficult it was to move on from the mental scars, and how I dealt with it, and how I moved forward, like when it comes to dating. How was going through an abusive relationship, how did that impact my future dating and stuff? And so what I wanted to say to that, what I wanted to add to that is, like, healing, your journey of healing is lifelong. It's gonna last forever. Like, you're never gonna be 100% healed from what you've gone through. You may have thoughts or limiting beliefs that you have because of the things that you've gone through. I definitely don't don't hate men. Like, I don't have bad feelings towards men, because I know not all men are abusers, but definitely I think, like, I will never feel 100% safe with a man. And I know that to be true because I'm a very self-aware person. And I realized this the other day when I was walking down the street. I live in a very good area in Las Vegas. Like, I live in a very safe neighborhood. So I went out for a midnight stroll a couple days ago. I went out for a midnight stroll, and I was walking down the street. There's like a sidewalk, and there's beautiful trees and bushes, like all nicely landscaped. And so I'm walking down the sidewalk, and it's like the middle of the night. I'm pretty much alone, and then I look into the distance, like I can just see far from like the sidewalk, and in the distance I see just a man walking like on the opposite direction. I see him walking like towards me. And so immediately my first instinct, like before I even got to process the thought, my first instinct after seeing him was to cross the street. And the first thing I did, because I'm so self-aware, like I caught myself with that thought, and I was just thinking about it. I was like, wow, like it doesn't matter where I am. I could be in the safest neighborhood, in the safest place. And when I saw him walking towards me, it's not like he looked like a thug. It's not like I felt like I had to fear, like that I had no reason to fear. But because of my past experiences, because I was hurt like that by a man, my first instinct was to cross the street. I need to be safe. I need to cross the street. Like, I don't know if he's gonna hurt me. My thought process was like, if someone that close to me could have hurt me, that I trusted to protect me, if that person that I knew so well hurt me in that way, then why wouldn't a stranger that doesn't know me at all, why wouldn't they do something to hurt me? And so that was like my thought process. Like, and I caught myself and I was like, wow, like it doesn't matter how much inner work that I did, my immediate instinct was to still cross the street. And I think, like, maybe if I didn't go through being abused by a man like that, if I didn't go through that physical trauma, maybe I wouldn't have crossed the street. Maybe I would have felt safe enough to walk by him and just, be feel safe enough that nothing would have happened to me. But like in that moment, like that's what my instincts were. And so I realized like I probably still do have a fear that any man could just hurt me. And I know it's not real because obviously like there's men that won't do that and there's men that don't hurt women. But it's still a memory in my mind, and it doesn't matter what I do or how much I consciously don't fear men. Just because that happened to me, I'm always gonna subconsciously fear them. And I know that's normal, that's a normal thing for a survivor of abuse, but I just wanted to make that known. Like, just because it's been years since that happened to you, it doesn't mean that you're going to be completely healed. Especially if you've gone through physical trauma, it's harder to heal yourself. It's harder to train your mind to like not be triggered. But yeah, I just wanted to let you know, like if you still have like a fear of men when the abuse might have happened to you years ago, like that's completely normal. It's completely normal to go through that. Like you're not gonna be healed 100%. Like that will always be something that happened to you, and it's always going to be in your memory. So it's always going to be something that you subconsciously think about. I wanted to give you an example on why all men aren't bad. And I want you to just imagine a scenario where every man in the world, like imagine, and I thinking about this helped me build my trust back in men. And I don't know where I learned this, I kind of just thought of it. But imagine if every single man in the world decided at the same time that they hated women and they wanted us to die. They just hated us so much, they wanted to hurt us and they wanted us killed. Imagine if every single man in the world felt that at the same time, and imagine if they all acted on their feelings at the same time. And imagine the chaos that would go on in the world. Like, women would fear for our lives. Like, we are naturally not strong enough and we're not built like men. Like, men are stronger, they're faster, they're built different. We women, we can't equally defend ourselves against men because they are bigger and stronger than us. So imagine the fear that us women would feel like if that ever happened. Like you would fear your life from your brothers, from your father, from any man in your life, from your coworkers, the men that work for you, the men that live around you, your neighbors. Like, imagine if all of them just wanted to kill you and they were actively trying to kill you. Like, imagine the fear that you would feel, and imagine how every woman in the world would feel. Like, we would all be in danger because without a weapon, we wouldn't be able to naturally defend ourselves equally against men. So, with that being said, all men don't think like that because that doesn't happen. All men aren't walking around actively trying to hurt and kill women. So, you shouldn't feel fear because of that. And majority of men do care about women. Like they put their lives on the line to protect us. Police officers, they put their lives on the line every day to go around and protect society. They protect us, builders, like construction workers. Like if they didn't care about women, why would they lift all this heavy stuff and be out there in hours in the sun and like do all this heavy physical work just to build a building, just to build buildings that are going to house women and children? Because, us women, I don't think we're the ones out here building cities and building buildings to provide shelter. Like, that's mostly what men do, right? And doctors. Like, I believe majority of doctors out there are men. I don't know if that's true, but a lot of doctors that I've seen out there are men. Like, they actually care. They want to help people. They care about the health of people. And so, yeah, like, there are good men out there. Think about all the things that you have in your life that you wouldn't have if it wasn't for a man trying to provide and protect. You know, a lot of us women, we wouldn't even be alive if it wasn't for our fathers providing and protecting for us. You know, a lot of people had like single moms, but majority of us, we see the sacrifice that men do make to provide and protect for the people that they love. And so that's what I want you to think about. Like, when you think about when you're a survivor of domestic violence or abuse and you find yourself thinking like all men are out here to hurt me, think about the good men out there that literally risk their lives and they risk everything to protect women and children. Like, there are a lot of good men in society. I can't live my whole life thinking that like somebody is gonna hurt me. And that's no way to live your life. Like, you shouldn't live your life in fear. And so, yeah, that's basically what I wanted to add to the interview that I did. I'm super glad that I got to talk about it. I'll check out his channel, like and subscribe, and I'll have more videos coming soon. Thank you so much. Bye.